about the other sort of dynamic. I mean, I saw a report. I think it was that guy Josh Rogan. I don't know how much to take that, but that Trump made up his mind on Syria after speaking with Erdogan on I guess it was just a week ago, and that and I think we speculated on this yesterday in terms of Syria. The idea of Erdogan getting what he wants,
Right.
so that he stops, dripping stuff on MBS in his killing of Khashoggi. There seems to be basically two like catalysts for Donald Trump's actions.
Right.
One is this notion that his base is a white nationalist, and that's politically. And then two, the other sort of thing that drives his policies seems to be some type of deep relationship with Saudi Arabia and Russia, right? Like now, maybe it's just a sentimental one.
Right.
Maybe it's one where they, have, I don't know, P tapes, or maybe it's one where it's just like he's making money from them. I mean, who knows, right? But those seem to be the two sort of like abiding. If we had X-ray vision, I feel like that's what we would see. Just two lines of catalysts.
And that's what makes me want to pause as a progressive, as excited as, all the wars that we're engaged in, we never should have been in, right? But I have a pause. You have to take a minute and consider the context of the reason why he did this, and then what flows from that decision, right? A lot of people are saying, oh, well, we can celebrate him doing the right thing for the wrong reason. And I'm like, well, do you understand what he's doing, the ramifications, how far reaching they are, and how it's going to further exacerbate war in that region, how it's going to further exacerbate imperialism. Like in the long run, Donald Trump's not making anti-imperialist decisions. Vladimir Putin is not an anti-imperialist. None of the players involved in Syria are anti-imperialists. And so if you really take a pause and think about it, and I'm going to be sure, I have not figured this thing out yet, right? I'm not going to try to assert that other people haven't figured it out, and I have. I'm saying that we are so caught up in the usual anti-Trump versus the anti-Trumpism that we, as a collective progressive body, have not really even figured out the right position on this, because we're really just jockeying for who has the best tweet to slam the resistance, and then who's got the best tweet to slam the anti-resistance. And so we're stuck in that limbo. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is being motivated by something that I honestly believe is going to exacerbate all of the problems that we're fighting against.
Right. I mean, I think this has also been a consistent theme with Donald Trump. The process and the intention and the catalyst for these moves are important, because they're, these things are bigger than just a headline.
Exactly.
There is a whole set of other cascading issues that come from this. And so how it's done, why it's done, have far greater implications down the road. It's not enough to just get the headline and wrap your arms around it. You need to, there needs to be some type of depth and substance to this stuff, because this is complicated.
It's complicated, and we in progressive media, we have a daunting task of taking these complicated things, synthesizing them into talking points that we can say very quickly on the air. But we're fighting against conservative media that has no need of nuance or complexity, and they simply pound the drums for build the wall and raise $3 million in 3 days to do so. So we are in our own asymmetrical fight. I know that I always say that about the Democrats versus Republicans, but progressive media versus conservative media, man, we've got our work cut out for us.
All right, listen, I know you got to hit the road. Just lastly, let's just touch on this quickly. Michael Flynn shows up in front of a judge at the beginning of the week. And this judge, as far as I know, is the first person who has read any sort of been read into any major narrative and there could be multiple ones, right? but certainly this is a major one involving Flynn. He's the first person to be read into it that we can hear his reaction, right, in real time. And he basically came back with like, oh my God, I can't believe you're not going to jail. I may send you to jail. I don't care what the prosecutor said. What you did was really, really, really bad. And I'm just giving you 90 days because you served in the military for 33 years and you were general. You need to do something to keep yourself out of jail. That sounds pretty serious, at least to a certain extent. And the prosecutors are willing to let this guy go away for what he gave them. Like,
right.
And so this week we find out that Whitaker initially had been reported that the DOJ's ethics review said he was okay not to recuse himself, but apparently that was just a blatant lie.
Right.
And that notion is out there, and we don't find out about it. I mean, what happens next on that end? And are these sort of like what we're seeing? Are they related?
You know what? I mean, if there's nothing happening, if this all comes out and it's no big deal with the Russia investigation, this would have been the greatest example of kabuki theater in all of world history, in all of human history. And the reason I pose it like that is because there's here's another cliche. There's so much smoke in this thing. There's got to be a fire here at some point. And people are trying to dismiss the judge this week as being overzealous and being overly performative and all those things. But I mean, at this point, if you actually put the pieces of the puzzle together, you have to really be expecting something huge to come up next, to answer your question very directly. What they have on Donald Trump has to be something that is massively significant. And the only real questions is, can you indict a sitting president? Because shorter than that, man, anything that comes up short of that milestone, I honestly think that it has been a massive waste, a massive showcase, something that the people who are doing the investigation need to be investigated at this point, because 2 years in, all of this grandstanding, all of these plea deals, the judge making it sound as though that this was the biggest thing that he's ever, he wants to throw the guy in jail even though he took a plea deal. There better be some damn good evidence against Donald Trump, and the only question is a constitutional question. It's, can you indict a sitting president?
Yeah, I will say you may be too young to have been fully conscious during the 7 years of Whitewater that brought about nothing except for the president lying in a deposition about whether he had sex.
I remember that. Really, I remember that, but. Come on, man. We expect better of our side, don't we? We expect better of the opposition, and I know Mueller would not present himself as taking sides in this, right? It's supposed to be a nonpartisan, but there is a political. This is clearly political, right? There's a political aspect to this. There is a push from the left, from the Democrat center, to see what's happening with Donald Trump. And at this point, if the people at the top of this political machine understand right now or have understood at any point that there's nothing really here, I think those people need to be held accountable from us more so than the Republicans.
I agree that the left is heavily invested in this investigation, but let's be clear, none of the players who initiated this
sure.
were
he brought this on himself.
I mean, and it's not like there hasn't been, the congressional and senatorial intelligence committees. They were run by Republicans. I mean, I mean,
that's true.
I will also add this.
They brought this on themselves. Yeah.
Right now, Mueller's running a $20 million surplus on this investigation. Not bad. Maybe this would be a great way to fund free colleges. Just keep investigating anyone around Donald Trump and taking their illicit gains. And but
that's the key. Here's the key thing, though, right? If there absolutely has to be something on Trump at this point, because Michael Flynn was a good enough catch for them to send him to jail for a very long time. And if they didn't, If they did not send Michael Flynn to jail, that would have been enough to be politically satisfying as well as some sense of justice. We didn't get that with Michael Flynn, so they sure as hell better get that with Donald Trump.
Yes, I agree. Like, if you wanted to make a graceful exit out of an investigation, you could say, like, we just arrested the chief security advisor of the president of the United States because he had a plan to kidnap a Turkish national in Pennsylvania and ship him, through, the back of a plane. I mean, that's like, we just found out that he thinks he's in like a Steven Seagal movie or something. But Ben Dixon, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for appearing on this show this year. I really appreciate it. I want you to have best of holiday and great new year. Folks should check out the North Star. Give us the URL again.
BuildingTheNorthStar.com.
Building
We're
the North
at 15,000 members, Sam. It's out of control.
Whoa, that's amazing.